How much do you think that the exposure that you had in your upbringing brought into fruition the skills that you had that made you successful?
Today, it's easier than ever to advertise yourself.
It's a fool's errand to compare yourself to other people, right?
100%.
So, Dmitry, what inspired Directorii?
What inspired Directorii? The death of Angie's List. I used to be pretty big on Angie's List. Contractor with over 700 reviews. Personally met Angie Hicks. She was like my mom. And it was devastating. I love the business model. I've been in Indianapolis. I personally think it was the best platform that ever existed in a space in the United States. I'm a foreigner. If you go to Israel, if you go to Russia, we do have platforms that work really well that everyone knows. Like here you have Uber, you have Airbnb, platforms that work in other categories. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, in this space, if you ask a contractor how to find a contractor, many will not tell you Home Advisor. They will not tell you BBB. It's nobody has like best of the best contractors. You take your chances. And Angie's List, I would argue, was the best of the best until she sold her soul to Home Advisor and they ruined it. And when that took place in 2018, I'm like, there's gotta be a better way. And I did my math. I'm like, a couple $100,000. I know the idea. I know what's needed to happen here. And I still don't understand why no one have done it. It's not that hard. Just do what you say you're going to do. Guarantee the transaction. I just don't understand these platforms. I don't understand how can you say that you have the best listing and they have 20 pages of fine print when it's your fault and you hire at your own risk. You better off take that yellow pages and call someone there. Like what's the point? Like, I don't understand it. What's the point of advertising and spending millions on commercials if your word means nothing? So I'm like, what? I'm a contractor. I know how to hire a contractor, and I don't give bad recommendations. If I recommend someone, I feel like I should be accountable for it. If my recommendation will do bad job, I should get a nasty phone call saying, hey, the guy you recommended me, took my money and run away. How is it not my fault? It is.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. I went and I talked with Tim about this on his One Industry, One Model tour when we were in Raleigh, where there has to be that level of accountability. If you're referring somebody, it's going to reflect on you, and it should, right? So be careful with who you refer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, episode number 30 of the Mission Control Podcast. We've got Dmitry Lipinskiy. Thanks for joining us, bro. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Yeah. So many questions. Let's play a game. Want to play a game? Let's play a game. We're going to do a little word association. I'm going to say a word. You tell me the first thing that comes to mind. It might be a series of words. Joshua Waxman. Yeah. Yeah, that's, I hear you. I thought it would be a fun way to start. So we started off talking about Directorii a little bit. I'm a big Journey guy. I know I've watched a lot of your content. I know a lot of people that are listening to this podcast have consumed a lot of your content. But like, who were you before the content? I know you owned a roofing company, but like, let's go back. You mentioned that, you're not from here and back. You're from Russia, yeah?
Yeah. Siberia, the coldest place on earth. Ever since I was a teenager, I promised myself, my parents, I'm not going to live here. You cannot pay me enough. Like, there's no amount of money that could keep me in Siberia. Very cold place. We don't have enough sun. So people are depressed when you have winter 9-10 months out of the year. And very shy kid, very shy, got bullied a lot. I was always the shortest, the smallest, the poorest. Grew up in a one-bedroom apartment with the 6 siblings. I was the oldest of 7. So a lot of insecurities. I remember growing up when I was 13, 14. We were so poor that I had to be on the streets with the bums and collecting beer bottles, turning them in for cash. 7, 8 beer bottles would equal to a loaf of bread. And I remember what was going through my head at the time. uh, I was afraid that when I'm gonna grow up, I will become homeless. It was like the biggest fear. Like, and teenagers should not be thinking about that. Looking back, and I played basketball. I was very short, but like basketball was one. It was my getaway. Like I, I was biggest fan of Michael Jordan in Siberia, watching NBA's games. Jordan was everything for me, and I just dreamed of coming to United States one day. I don't know, the dream came from those years, but I was so worried about my future, because looking at my dad, and he was hardworking man, but no matter how hard he worked, he could not support for our family. And when people mocking you, being the poorest in a poor country, it's not a fun thing. It's one thing when everyone is poor, but it's another thing when people are doing better than you. And yeah, when I was 18, 20, I went to university, wanted to become a teacher. And then at 22, I had the opportunity to move to United States on a student exchange program. And I took, an Eminem song that starts all our videos. If you have one chance, one opportunity to change everything you ever wanted, would you capture it? Like, that was me. I'm like, this is my chance. I'm not coming back. I'm gone. I don't care what's going to happen. I might be a bum. I might be homeless, but I'll be in the United States, not in Russia. And I moved here. And first couple of years was brutal. It was hard, a lot of hard work. Before the content, I was very shy. I did not know how to sell myself. I did not know how to. I only knew how to work. I had good work ethics. I was a good employee. I've changed like 10 jobs, all in construction. I've installed. I worked for a year in cabinet shop, 6 months installing siding, a couple years for remodeling company, 3 4 months insulation, the nastiest job ever. Never been fired. Always just either move to another state or place or get promoted, or someone told me, hey, here, that company's hiring, and I would give 2 weeks notice, go to next, go to next. But consider myself being a good employee. And if the last company I worked for, uh, if the boss would not file bankruptcy, I probably still would be working with my hands. I love the job. I was getting paid like $25 an hour. I was running 4 or 5 guys. We were doing projects like $50,000, $60,000 kitchen remodels to additions, basement finishing. Like, I genuinely loved working with my hands. I would never ever think that I would be the business owner. I like to get shit done. So you give me the project. Like, one day, our boss pretty much lined us up and he said, "You're idiots." I was the only immigrant. It was all Americans, an American boss. And he said, "You four idiots are costing me money. Dmitry makes me money. Wherever he says goes." And he puts me in charge. And I loved it because when he would leave us for a day, he would give us a task. So like, "Dmitry, you're doing tile in this bathroom." And everybody have their task. And at the end of the day, I was the only one who actually finished my stuff and then helping others. And everybody was like, well, my boss was always asking those questions. Why Dmitry is always finishing his shit and you guys like halfway through, and like, time management, common sense, right? Going to Home Depot 6 times. We have one guy working with us. I kid you not. That guy, you send him to Home Depot and you tell him, buy this coupling, like PVC coupling. He would bring you 3 couplings. None of them are the same, and none of them are what we ask him. And it was like, dude, like, how is it possible? You go on the shelf and people mess up the shelf. He doesn't look like, okay, I need couplings, and he would grab. I'm like, you guys are just unbelievable. But I was good employee, shy, and when my boss filed bankruptcy, I came home and I told my wife I will never work for anyone else. And never did. Opened my company, was flooring business at first, start advertising on Craigslist, and that's where I learned that I'm actually good at with people. I can actually sell myself. I can go to someone else's house, never door knock, but if you call me and you say, ask me to give you a price on the flooring job, I'll calculate and I'll give you the price. And people believed me. My closing rate was through the roof. I sold myself pretty well, and people who were working for me at the time, my helpers, my subs, they were pretty much asking me to do more sales. And I was pushed into sales. I was pushed into running those companies. It was only one trade that I didn't do myself. It was finishing floors. I didn't have a sanding machine. And the Brazilian crew in Atlanta pretty much begged me to give them installation of harder floors. I'm like, nope, I can install floors. You can finish them. And I was in a bind one day, and they keep begging me for work. I'm like, where are you getting these jobs? Because I was advertising myself well. I was selling myself well. Nobody had jobs. We're talking about 2011, 2012. Economy was shit. And one day I oversold myself, and I have a couple of projects that homeowners were asking me to finish that week. So I gave it to my Brazilian crew, and something just clicked. I realized I'm not the only one who can install. These hardworking Brazilian guys can install as fast as myself, give the job away, still made a little money, not as much as I would do it. And I was like, wow, there's something to it. And within 3 months, I was running 6 crews. It just clicked. Just delegation. I was pushed in the office. I was that guy who is judging salespeople, who's judging owners, who takes pride in the work, and who, if you work for me, if you help me, you're opening boxes and you're sweeping the floors. I was like Nazi when it comes to quality, and I'm control freak. But those Brazilian guys, they taught me a lesson that you're not the only one who can do it. You could be better at something else. And when 100 people told me that I'm good at office organizing business, I believed them.
All right. Takeaway there, stay away from the lazy American crews. All jokes aside, though, how much do you think that the exposure that you had in your upbringing brought into fruition the skills that you had that made you successful, right? Because you have a lot of things that can't necessarily be taught in the classroom, like that drive, that work ethic, that ambition, just that tenacity, right? How much of your upbringing do you think impacted that?
I'm 39, and I have 5 kids now. So I have to teach them a lot of lessons. And we talk about it a lot because I wanted my kids to be tough, because life is hard. There's shit that's happening. My wife tells me all the time. People who I work with tell me all the time, how do you deal with, this is tough business. You're going to deal with so much crap. And just today, right before this, I lost $7,000 per month revenue on one phone call. Someone just called me, and we had to negotiate a deal with one of my partners. And honestly, stuff like that doesn't even affect me. There's so many things that could take place. I mean, last week I was in Nebraska burying Dustin Bigler. I mean, that's a tragedy. You look at the life a little bit different when you come from different background. There's so many way more important things than just money. I was listening to, was it TikTok or short videos the other day? When you grow up, when you're 20, you have to be how they make metal in a furnace, and then they take that metal and they literally with a hammer smashing it. So and that's how you become tougher. And the longer you live, the more times you go in that furnace, and the more hits you have. And this is what I feel like my life is now. I mean, I lost Ben Minchaka last 8 months ago. We lost Dustin Bigler now. I'm like, what else life is gonna bring you? And it just keeps hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. And in that perspective, when you think about inflation or economy, nothing nothing is more important than life. Nothing is more when you know how to compare things. I mean, check this out. I was reading article about true wealth in the United States. If you make $200,000, you're top 1%. 200,000 a year, it's top 1% of the world, right? I mean, not many people make even that, but 200,000 for me right now and for a lot of people in my circles, it's within the reach. But then from there, I mean, I think we have 2,447 billionaires, right? But think about the rest of the world. Think about how many people live on dollar a day, $10 a day. Think about stuff like what's happening now in Ukraine and Russia. I mean, in perspective, we're selfish. We're not grateful for what we have. And I personally feel my best trait in business is just to be grateful for what I have. I tell people all the time, you can come right now and take absolutely everything from me. I don't care. Take my business, take my websites, take my revenue. I'm going to rebuild it. I've done it 3 times in the past 17 years. When I started from scratch, I sold my flooring business in 2012 and I moved to Minneapolis in 2013 and I started in a brand new state with the 4 kids with a $2,000 to my name and I built a roofing company. Then I sold that and I'm doing this now. What we have, the most important thing is between our ears. And, you know, if you're holding to things, if you're holding to assets, to cars, to buildings like my parents' generation, maybe it's because they grew up in USSR, they're holding on to things. Like my dad would not sell his tools. I might actually have a fight with my dad a couple days ago. He had a whole bunch of tools, couple $1,000s worth of tools. He's an Uber driver now. And I'm like, Dad, why do you need that? Why do you need those drills? You're not mechanic anymore. You're like 63. Can we please sell it? He would not sell it. I'm a mechanic. I'm like, you're Uber driver. You're driving freaking Acura that will never break. But for them, it's important. For me, if I see something laying around and I'm not using it for 6 months, it's freaking going to Facebook Marketplace. I'm selling it. I feel like the staff is the enemy. You know, the cars, the computers, like you have to invest in your education. You have to invest in yourself, in your character. Everything else can go. And you can only learn it when you have lost it all many, many times. Back in Russia, our economy collapsed quite a few times. You know, I remember when people were not getting paid 6-8 months of the year. Like I'm talking about entire city, like no one is getting paid on this factory. I'm talking about government employees not getting paid for 8 months, right? And then you borrow from someone, you'll survive. And this generation, I mean, we don't know. We forgot what a bad economy is. What's the last time economy crashed? We're spoiled.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And it's an interesting point that you make especially with Dustin. My heart goes out to his family. I never got to meet him, but I'll tell you what, I've spoken to probably a dozen people and every one of them just unsolicited. Somebody as recently as a couple weeks ago, we were just talking about, you know, website and Google ads and stuff. And he's like, you know, I'm pretty, you know, I lean on my network and I talk to a lot of really, really great people. You know, Dustin Beegler, he's been incredibly helpful to me. You know, he's a godsend. And it's like, you don't hear many people get spoken to or about in that regard. So it's such a tragedy. But it's crazy how, you know, something like the shit that we have piling up on us on a day-to-day can seem overwhelming until something really tragic happens, right? And then all those things that you were stressed out about at 7:30 p.m. yesterday are fucking gone, right? And they seem like they're of zero importance. And that's part of being grateful, I guess, right? Acknowledging what you have and what's important to you and how, you know, how blessed you are to have those things. You know, is that an unintended consequence of capitalism, the taking things for granted? do we get so caught up in chasing the next thing, right? Because it's like the more money I make, the better off I'm going to be. I feel like that's, whether it's explicit or implicit, that's kind of how people operate, right? I get to that next level. And then once I do this, then I can afford this, right? And if I get this promotion, I can now bring my family on this vacation or upgrade my truck. Is that one of those things where it's just it's a byproduct of like a capitalist society? Makes you wonder.
I think so, but also it's a lifestyle that you choose. I don't believe in the more stuff, more money, more power. I think, like, I really like few billionaires out there who have very simple lifestyle. I love Warren Buffett in that regard. Like, how Warren Buffett constantly says, like, at the end of the day, what's the difference between billionaire and, I mean, not poor people, but middle class? So let's say you make $200,000 and someone makes a couple $1,000,000. Yeah, a few vacations there and there, but how much nicer bed you're gonna have to sleep at night? How much nicer food you're gonna get? I would argue that my diet it's pretty on point. I mean, I don't eat caviar 3 times a day. I don't care for it. But even if I want to eat caviar 3 times a day or whatever, the most expensive food, I probably can afford it. Amount of meat, sweet, quality food, higher quality food, you'll get it. But overall, we can afford good stuff for us. I mean, eggs are pretty expensive now. That's probably going to be like at the top of the year. But overall, think about it. But the problem is when you have this mentality when it's never enough, now it doesn't matter what you drive. When it's not, listen, I drive Tesla and it's not even brand new. It's 2019. I just wanted to have Tesla. Guess what? I wanted to update it to 2022. Didn't make a lot of sense. I'm fine with 2019. I'll go drive Honda Civic home and I'll be fine. When I travel, when I take a rental car, I don't care if it's Suburban or if it's freaking Isuzu. It doesn't change my mood.
Isuzu.
I don't know. It doesn't make me uncomfortable about my life, right? It's a car. It's a vehicle. It will get you from A to B. It's not, I mean, one thing I do try to get is a first class, but usually because it's upgraded, and that never will change my mood to the worst part, right? Like, if you see you get upgraded to first class, it's always like smile on your face. But guess what? Main cabin is just fine. You go to the same destination, just freaking make it there. But first class is nice.
First class is not terrible. So that's the second Isuzu reference that I've had in the last week in talking to the people that I talked to. And I hadn't heard Isuzu before that in, I don't know, fucking 15 years. So maybe they're making a comeback. I don't know.
I internationally traveled recently to Mexico and Honduras, and I've seen a lot of Isuzus. And it's also pretty big in Eastern Europe. So that's probably where it's coming from.
Gotcha. That's really interesting. So how do you define success for Dmitry Lipinskiy?
When I started my business, I have only one goal, and it's stability. I just want to have a paycheck on a Friday. And honestly, I lived on half of my income for the past like 4 or 5 years. So, like, for example, when I opened a roofing company, I did over 900,000 a year, first year in sales. I paid myself like 60. The company made money, so we did, like, I could pay myself 140, but I reinvested in my business more than I paid myself. But I started with this Volkswagen Jetta, and then at the end of the year, I had like 3 vehicles, 4 trailers, all paid for. So I like to reinvest. When I grew up, we never had stability. Like, my dad might not bring money home for like 6 months, and then will be like a huge bag of money. And then it'll be all gone within like 30 days. And then for 4 months, we would starve again or borrow money to survive. And I always wanted just to have a paycheck every Friday. And as a matter of fact, for the past 10 years, I always paid myself salary every Friday. And as a matter of fact, when I sold my roofing company a couple of years ago, it's still, I did not want to sell it for a chunk of money. I wanted to sell it for a paycheck. So for a couple of years, I'll put it this way, I didn't have to work. And I decided that, hey, I'm going to sell my company. Let's say for 3 years, I don't have to work, and I'll build this empire. And pretty much I've invested more than $500,000 in Directory. If you think about $500,000, I mean, I'm spending like $40,000 on salaries on Directory. That's a lot of, that's something that I would be paying myself, going on vacations, buying fancy cars. I don't care. I pay myself my minimum wage, which is, with the 5 kids, minimum wage is like 3,000-4,000 a week, with a private school and stuff like that. But I don't need 40,000 a month. I'm okay with on 15,000 a month, and the rest 20,000 a month that I could make, I reinvest. So for me, it's stability, it's raising kids, it's having something for them. Like, there are only 2 reasons to be in business: sell it, pass it to your kids. I have 5 businesses. When my kids grow up, they can pick and choose one of my businesses, or I can sell one of my businesses and take care of my kids. So for me, it's not, I'm a purpose-driven, not a money-driven person. As a matter of fact, that's the main reason why I sold my roofing company, because my roofing company was not driving me. Like, I could be driving home with $100,000 check and have like zero emotions about it, but I could make one YouTube video and have like goosebumps just reading the comments. It's like, I'm a teacher. Like, what satisfies me does not satisfy a lot of people, but I love being in front of 20 kids and seeing them grow and seeing them going from A to B and make change in their life. I like seeing it in my students in the roofing school. I like seeing, homeowners hiring good contractors, not bad contractors. I'm a purpose driven, and I have a purpose now, and which is Directory. Like, I believe in my mission, and I don't care that I'm not making money. And, one day it'll pay off. And if not, I will be still happy. But my bills are paid. I'm content. I don't care how little, how much I have. That's a life for me.
I like that. So do you consider yourself successful at this point?
You know what? I've been successful even when I was making $6 an hour. Like, I'll put it this way. If you know me, like in my journey, when I was making, I went from $6 an hour to $25 an hour to business owner. Never ever in my journey I would be not happy with what I had. Like, it doesn't matter where I lived, what I drove, and just, I'm not that materialistic. Like, it just doesn't have, I'm not dreaming right now about owning something. Now, I like Mercedes-Benz. I like first class. I like to travel. Quality of life will improve. But when you have to take a step back, it's not a step back for me. It's just, okay, I'm eating something nicer today. Like, I'll eat McDonald's tomorrow if I have to. So, yes, I've been successful. I mean, in this country, people try to, especially haters. Well, I have haters and I have haters. People often, this is a funny one. When I see people in comments trying to measure to me or compare them to me, and they, like, for example, when I was doing, like, let's say $4 million in the roofing business, people would try to mock me in comments, especially on the Facebook. Oh, what are you doing? $4 million a year? I did it last week, right? I'm like, okay, dude, do you realize that, you already have been running a business when I did not speak one word of English? Like, just put that in perspective. Right. Like, I learned my first word of English at the 22. Like, I don't compare myself to others. I came here. Here's what important to me. I came here when I was 22 in 2005. I'm a father of 5 kids. My wife is stay-home mom since we have a first one. I moved my parents here. I moved my two of my sisters and my brother here. Even like this year, 4 months ago, I had to go to Mexico to relocate my brother to escape war in Ukraine through Mexico, and we got that shit figured out. Like I've done crap that I mean my parents just became United States citizens. Do you know how much work that takes? And the reason I got my parents here before my siblings because that's the path you take. It takes years of legal paperwork. I mean, forget about money. I mean, there's just a lot of effort to go. I changed my family tree. Now, could I be richer? Could I accomplish more? I probably could. But I have the best lifestyle I ever have. I'm always home with the kids on the weekends. I only travel 2 nights per week, Wednesday through Friday. I build my life uh, around my hobbies and what's important to me. I think I'm a good example with my kids. I spent a lot of time with my kids, and you can't put price on it. And
Right.
people who usually criticize me in the business, I see heart attacks on the third marriage, shitty relationships. I'm like, okay, if you really want to compare what's important, that's not your Lambo. I have
Right.
something that you don't have. So don't talk to me. I mean, don't try to belittle uh, immigrant because first of all, you don't know where I'm going to end. I mean, this is $1 billion company right here. So I'm not done yet. I'm just getting started. So
I like that mentality. Yeah, I was asked about that, a few weeks ago. Like, do you feel successful? And it's a tough, for me, it was a tough question to answer, because I started thinking about it and it's like, I feel like me fulfilling things that are important and being there for people I care about is, a big part of what success is for me. But like, that's multifaceted, right? So you have like your personal, you have your business. And then those have silos within them, right? For business, it's, okay, what are we doing for our customers? What are we doing to improve the company? What am I doing for my employees and my team as a leader? Like, so there's a lot that's kind of siloed within the business. And then, personal growth, development, things like that. You've got family. Am I being a good husband? Am I being the best dad I can be? The best brother, the best uncle? And it's like, if I'm being real about it, it's like I'm a lot more successful in some days and some instances of my life than others. And sometimes I suck in some regards, but I try to be self-aware consistently to try to improve every day, right? And not lose focus of what's important because, when shit's busy, it's easy if you're not self-aware to kind of lose sight of those things. And, relationships and your business and things that should be and probably are important to you will suffer as a result of it, right?
well, you said it. It's improvement, and I actually did a keynote about it at the Riva event with Martin Pettigrew, and it was the whole point of 20-minute keynote. The definition of success is keep moving forward. It's your improvement. It's truly you against you. As long as you are improving in a better place than you were yesterday, you are successful. Like, that's why I said that I always been successful because I grew from $6 an hour to making, let's say, 200,000 a year, but over 15 years. So on average, I grew 30-40% per year. My roofing company grew 30-40% per year. My YouTube channel, my directory right now, everything I touch is growing. I never have one major jump. I never double overnight. I never won a lottery or like nothing ever happened that I wasn't ready for. It's constant growth. It's just like lifting weights. Like I know what I want to lift in 2 years. So in that regard, I am super successful. And as long as you're improving, you're too. Like just don't go back. For me, going back is, opposite of successful, right? Like if you making 100K a year and then next year making 70, I mean, maybe something happened. I wouldn't necessarily call it not being successful, but that would be good measure. But if you're improving against yourself, who cares where other people are? I mean, you improved.
Yeah. And I think it's a fool's errand to compare yourself to other people, right?
100%.
You're just setting yourself up for disaster. I mean, I'm sure everyone wants to know. I mean, what are you going to be lifting in 2 years? What are you power cleaning in 2 years, Dmitry?
I mean, I actually did not meet my own goal this year. So I wanted to clean and jerk 315, and I cleaned 315, but I did not jerked it. I did like 305. 335 clean and jerk in 2 years. That would be my goal. 255 snatch maybe. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. When did you get into CrossFit?
5 years ago.
What was the allure for you as opposed to boxing or, whatever, right?
Actually, it was a rehab. So I played soccer before, and we have this league here, and there was competition, like adult league, and I tore my ACL, completely messed up my knee at the game, and literally went to the hospital from the game. Like my knee was busted, MCL, ACL, meniscus, everything was messed up. So for 9 months I could not run. Waited 3 months for the surgery, and my left leg was so skinny. I thought I'll never run again. So the surgery was very painful. I don't know how soccer players and basketball players recover within like 30, 60 days. Within 60 days, I could not bend more than 90 degrees. It was a disaster. So they sent me to neck and back clinic because my lower back always been, since flooring days, always been jamming. So now you have knee and you have lower back. And if I would squat, I would compensate. So everything was out of line. My back became so weak. At neck and back clinic in 3 months, I was going through physical therapy, and they showed me kettlebell movements. Like I've never had kettlebell like workout, and they're like, you need to string your back because I couldn't squat, and they start showing me exercises, and I literally searched kettlebell gyms in Minnesota. And of course, I couldn't find one. So CrossFit was the only gym that actually had kettlebells. So I joined CrossFit in 2015 for 1 month. Was too hard, got out. First year combined, I did maybe like 20 workouts within like 2 or 3 months. So come in for a month, get out. But then I remember the humility of it. Like when you go in and you see like pregnant woman doing way more than you can do, I'm like, what is this place? How can I cannot do this and you guys can? But I fell in love. I've seen what fitness looks like, and I realized how weak I was, and I'm like, there's something here. Within 2 years, I came back like 3 times a week, and then 5 times a week, and now I work out twice a day, and I spend like $40,000 in my own gym at the warehouse, at my office. I have weights everywhere. Like I'm a CrossFitter for life. The most efficient way to get fit, if you value your time, that's the way to go. Like you put your phone down, you come in for 1 hour workout, and you just get fit.
So it was a happy accident.
I mean,
right?
It was. I wouldn't call it that, but yeah, I guess. I mean, it changed my life.
So where were you looking? Were you on Bing? Were you on Google?
Probably Google. What's Bing?
Yeah, right.
Chandler Bing from France. That's the only Bing I know.
Yeah. So, I play basketball. I played basketball this morning. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we play at 6 a.m. I'm going to play tonight. On Mondays, we play at 9 p.m. Basketball, to me, that's my thing, right? I fucking love it. For me, especially in the morning, to get out there and get that. I'm competitive. I'm competitive with myself mostly, but I'm still competitive, and I want to win every single day. So, and I think there's a semblance of nostalgia there too, right? It's like, I feel like a kid again when I'm out there on the court, because that's what I did growing up. I played football and I played basketball all the time. So yeah, I love getting out there, getting active, and it does wonders for me. You're a big cold plunge guy, yeah?
Yes, I like cold.
I just recently started doing so before basketball. Wake up around 4 and I go to I do like 10 minutes in the sauna at the gym. Go lift a little bit. 20 minutes, half hour, and then do 10 more minutes in the sauna, and then hop in a cold shower. That's fucking, dude. It's like a hard reset for your mind and body,
Cold shower is nothing. Like, I mean, it's a good beginning.
It's
I mean, for girls, it's okay. But if you want to call yourself a real man, you have to find yourself some ice and some cold lake, frozen lake, cut a hole in it and jump in it. It's all in your head. If you say you can do it, you can do it, and your body will adapt. Promise you that. The more you do it, the better. I forgot last time I was sick. It's been years. I don't get sick. Like that's what I wear all winter. Like, I mean, what is it? Like you go to the car, you drive to the store. Like I don't put jackets. I don't. Jackets for girls too.
What got you into cold plunges?
Huh?
What got you into cold plunges?
I don't know. Just research.
You decided one day you just wanted to be a man?
I like sauna. Always liked sauna. And cold never bothered me for being from Siberia. So I've been cold many, many times. And in Russia, if you go to sauna, it's kind of common thing. You get out in the cold. It's more like cryo, but you'll jump like in snow and stuff. So I purchased my sauna, I want to say 4 years ago. And when you get in a sauna, you have this cooling off session. So every time I used to go to, like saunas or like hot springs, they usually have cold water. So I always done that, but I never had it like in my house. And if you do sauna session, you're supposed to jump in the cold water. So all my friends with the saunas, like even when I was in Atlanta 15 years ago, we have a Russian guy with a sauna and he would have cold pool. So you go in the sauna, you jump in the cold pool, and then you cool off. So you're supposed to be 15 minutes in the sauna, 15 minutes cooling off. That's the cycle, like 3-4 times. And the more you do, just like with anything, you just become more aggressive and it's funner. And now cold water, it's not cold anymore. And now you want to jump in the snow. And now you're like, you know what? I'm just going to cut a hole in my pool and just freaking jump in. And I bought a freezer 3 years ago and started doing ice cold bath.
I mean, I'll try getting into a cold plunge. I had a hard time investing in what it takes to get like a cold plunge unit. They seem wildly expensive.
Dude, you can go, like, do you travel a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, go to your hotel, fill it, that tub that you have in the hotel room, fill it up with a cold water, go in the hallway, they have ice there, dump couple buckets of ice right there. How much did that cost you? Nothing.
Okay.
It's all excuses.
So yeah, I was going to say, stop making excuses. That's our second core value at Ascend: solutions, not excuses. So you've provided me the solution. There's no more excuses. I'll be at SRC. I'm flying in on Sunday, so I'll have to fucking hop in and do a cold plunge.
I mean, it's any bucket, the freezer that I have is $600 freezer. Just buy a freezer, fill it up with water, plug it in. You'll have a couple inches of ice at the top. Turn it off, break it, boom.
Resourceful.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you need? That's it. Like, you have ice and freezer. It's like giant cooler, and it's 6-foot freezer. $600. I'm not spending $5,000.
I'm gonna go home. My wife's gonna come home tonight, and the fucking meat from the chest freezer is gonna be all over the floor in the garage. She's like, "What are you doing?" I talked to Dmitry. He said I gotta do a cold plunge, or I'm a woman. I don't know. Here we go. All right, so let's talk marketing, man. I'm fond of marketing. I own an advertising agency, Ascend Digital. I'll send you a shirt. Don't worry. I know you've been dying for one. You mentioned something earlier on in the conversation about when you started your business, and it was that grit, that scrappiness, right? I wasn't door knocking, but I was on Craigslist, and I was learning how to sell to myself, like improving. Why don't more people do that?
Laziness.
Let's talk about it in roofing specifically.
Laziness. It's, dude, today it's easier than ever to advertise yourself. Everything is freaking free. I was talking to the guy today, and he was asking me about how to start making videos, how to make company video. I'm like, dude, YouTube is free, Facebook is free. The phone that you're talking to me right now probably can do 4K video, and it's free. It's not going to cost you more. How much?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't get cheaper and better than that. If you spend 8 hours in one day intentionally creating profiles and actually filling up those profiles online, you probably will create 10 listings in one day for your business. I'm talking about free. Your next doors, your Yelps, your maps, your like all of that. It's like MapQuest. Like, you just have to be at places where people shop. It drives me nuts how many people don't understand it. Like, when I travel, I go to my phone to find like CrossFit gym, for example, and I would show up at a CrossFit gym and there's nothing there because they did not update their, their map. I mean, what's more important? Do you want visitors or not? You're in freaking Florida on an ocean. There are 70 people coming to Orlando every year. CrossFit is huge, and CrossFit gym owners would not update their app. Like, what's more important for you if you're a restaurant owner, whatever? But if you have good online presence, I'm not even talking about being the most creative, and I don't consider myself as the most creative or genius in any way. I'm just the most consistent. Once I start doing something and it works, I'm just gonna keep doing. I've done like 700 YouTube videos. 20 of them probably were great. There, a couple hundred of them sucked, but I did not stop. You just do 3-4 videos every week and see what clicks, what doesn't. Learn from it. Delete it later if they're really bad. You never know. And that's another thing too. You truly don't know. And people who are teaching viral content, how to be on the first page of Google, you know what it's similar to? It's similar to how in a music world, no one knows how to write a hit song. Like, if anybody's gonna try to teach you how to write like number one song, like, you don't know. You write it by accident. The same goes with the ads like, sometimes you just create something, just clicks. I mean, there's flavors to it, and there's some laws that you have to follow. But overall, the more you try, the better you become. But every once in a while, and we see it right now a lot with the shorts and TikToks, you will see the same company will create like 10 shirts or 10 TikToks, and one of them will have like 4 million views, and other similar will have like 3,000. Why is that? If you know how to create 3 million views TikTok, why can't you repeat it? Because you can't. You never know what's gonna click, but you have to be consistent and keep trying, keep grinding. I mean, you're in business. You cannot be shy. You have to throw yourself out there and just freaking do it.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody and they were talking about video content, and like, it's funny because you have, it's like baptism by fire, right? You have to put it out, and it's going to be the shittiest version of yourself on the first one or the second one and the third one, and like, hopefully they start improving sooner than later. And I felt that. I mean, I don't by any means consider myself like an expert content creator. I try to add value, and I take everything that everyone's been asking me for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and I try to answer those questions in content. And some of my shit gets 9 views, some of it gets 3,000, like, whatever. Like, does it suck? And I'm like, I feel like this is way more valuable and more people should see it. But you know what? Keep at it. But like, you have to have those shitty results, and like, take your ego out of it. Like, it's all good. Like, keep pushing. It's gonna be fine.
if you're not faking it, if you're real, if you answer their questions, I mean, if you don't like it, maybe answer a question better. Go study, go learn. And the problem is real too. Some people, here's who suck at content, truly suck. It's people who are not improving. It's roofers who suck at roofing. It's marketers who suck at marketing. What I mean by that is, if you're not improving yourself, like, I read and watch 10 times more than I produce. I don't just create content for the sake of creating content. If you watch my videos today from 3 years ago, you can see right away, did you read? Did you study? Did you actually, if you're going to be a boring guy, like if you can answer a question in 3 minutes and you're going to spend 30 minutes on live video, like, dude, I'm not following. I don't have time for it. It's too much to ask. And you see that watery content all the time. And if you're really good at something and you want to teach me how to, I don't know, flash the chimney, how to save money, how to file a claim, whatever the topic is, teach me. I'll follow you. And unfortunately, there are people who, and I follow them. They want to create content, but their content is about 2 topics and never change. Because they don't educate themselves. They keep saying the same stuff over and over again, and you're like, what's new? I already figured it out. Like, I'm unsubscribing, go to the next. You can't afford that. You can't afford to produce bad content. Attention span is too small. If you create bad content and someone watched it and was like, okay, it was boring, they're not coming back.
Right.
So every piece of content you put have to be thoughtful, prepared, and you have to respect their time.
Respecting people's time. Anywho, there's so much to unpack there. So let me ask you this. In this day and age, there's so much content out there, right? And there's so many different platforms. There's Reels, there's YouTube Shorts, there's TikToks, and whatever. So people are getting pulled in every direction. There's a ton of content on each one of those platforms. So let's say we've got a roofer who's trying to improve. He wants to step up his content game. What are 3 things that you're going to tell him to do to get better?
Find your true expertise. What fires you every day? Like, what's one topic that you like to cover? Is it, do you like teaching people how to install roofs? Talk about it. Do you like teach sales or how to file insurance claims? Those are different topics. Like, what do you want to be known for? Like, for me personally, I produce content that I like to consume. I like calling out waxmans. I don't know, like American Greed is one of the best shows ever, right? When you think about the content you like to consume, you can create that content. I like watching product comparisons, like, who makes the best car. I love it. Just if I'm buying a car, I'm watching not product reviews, not car reviews. I'm watching freaking drag races. Like, I want to see Toyota Sienna or Honda Odyssey. I'm going to watch that video and probably 5 more of them. I like roasting products when someone takes, calling out manufacturers, corporations. I love that. So that's why when I see marketing gimmick in my industry, I'm going to create that content. It comes natural to me. I don't like as much, how-to videos, but for someone, like if you're really good with your hands, like back in my days when I used to install floors, if I would start a YouTube channel, I would do like how to install floors, how to be the fastest guy freaking on the planet Earth, because that was my sport and nobody could compete with me. And people would, it's very satisfying to watch other people's work. And if you're that guy, if you're fast with your nail gun, show me that speed and I'm going to follow you. So find your expertise. And more than anything, just be you. Like, I see so many guys are getting nervous and they're getting, I don't know, they're really good in person, but the moment you turn the camera, it's different because they're trying to be someone they're not. Camera will magnify. People think that you can fake it behind the cameras. I would argue it's impossible. We humans figure out super fast who is who. Even when we talk about Hollywood actors, we know what kind of character Nicolas Cage has, like in real life. We see people who they are for who they are. You can fake it in 1 or 2 videos, but overall, people are going to figure out, if you're a jerk, if you're aggressive, if you're a nice guy, and you can't fool people. So just be yourself. That's the best advice I can give you. Be yourself and just pretend like you're having a conversation with a potential customer. If I would ask you, how do you do that? just answer it to the camera, but like you answering to me in real life. If homeowner would ask you that question, how would you behave? So focus and let's capture that, because more homeowners will be asking you that question. And for your potential homeowners, so you don't have to repeat yourself 500 times, let's just put it on YouTube. Now we have a piece of content.
And then depending on the length of that answer, you're going to take that transcription from YouTube and you're going to make a blog post on your website that links back to the relevant page of content that you're talking about on your website, or you're going to put it on your Google business profile and put a call to action that says learn more, and then you're going to copy and paste the link where they can learn more about whatever the topic is that they're talking about.
Now it sounds like a rocket science. Now you're overwhelming them. I mean, it's next level, but it takes a lot of energy to do that. But yeah, 100%. It's a good strategy.
If there's anybody here watching that's overwhelmed by that and wants me to spend time with them to show them exactly how to do it and show them how easy it is, I'm 100%. The door's open. Call me.
Let me ask you this: how hard it is for someone to learn that by themselves, or do they need a marketer?
I think in this day and age, you can learn anything that you want to learn, right? There's nothing you can't. I can learn how to put on a roof. Guess what? I just paid $17,000 for a roof like 3 weeks ago, right? So it's it really does depend on, okay, what's the convenience factor? I can go shovel my snow, Dmitry. I live in Buffalo. Guess what? I'm not fucking doing much. I have a plow service.
It's a good workout.
Of course, yeah, it's great. I just don't want to do it. Yeah, what abs? I got to clean up the diet. I made a post the other day. You can't outwork a bad diet, and you can't outmarket a poorly ran business. So I'm guilty of the first part of that for sure, right? I gotta clean the diet up so I can get the 6-pack. But yeah, I think there 100% are ways that you can learn it yourself. I mean, I've been in this industry for almost 8 years now, and I'm the type of person I like to learn, so I consistently try to learn and try to be better and try new things. And
do you see
back off other people?
Do you see Chat GPT disrupting marketing world?
Yeah, it's going to. In some instances for the better, and in some instances for the worse. There's going to be a lot of people that, here's a shortcut, and we made it. Now I don't got to pay Mike to do my SEO, and I got to pay Tim Brown. Now I got Chat GPT, and I'm going to fucking ask it questions, and I'm going to post all this shit on my website, and we're going to get rich. And that'll be a tremendous misstep for a lot of companies and people, because, you think about all these people. I'm in all these different groups, not just roofing groups, but marketing groups, right? You've got all these people domestically overseas that are SEO experts, right? And they're hitting your inbox, they're calling you on your phone line, and they're telling you for $99 a month, I'm going to get you ranked on page 1 at Google. And it's going to be fantastic. And guess what all these people are going to be doing? They're going to be using AI content, and they're going to make it very seamless and easy, and they're going to make it hard for you to say no. But it's not just creating content. If you got the same content as fucking 37 other people in your state, guess what Google's not going to do? And maybe it's something where you use it as a tool to improve your efficiency, and those are the people I think that are going to do really well in the interim. 5 years from now, Dmitry, I've got no fucking idea. I might be out of a job asking you if I can come work at Directorii. Who knows? I can't call it.
Good point on on Google, because Google will always catch up. Google will always figure out what's fair and what gives you better search. I mean, they've done it time and time again in the past. I remember times where bad reviews were actually helping companies to get number 1 on Google. And where is that now? Google will adapt. Mm-hmm. They'll change the algorithm. It's freaking Google. Question. Who do you think has worse reputation, roofers or marketers?
Dude, it's so funny you asked that. It's so funny because when people ask me, they're like, why would I spend X amount of dollars on a website? I got somebody that'll build it for $1,000. It's like, I don't know, like how important is the first impression, right? If you're spending $10,000 or $30,000 in ads to drive people to your website or to a landing page, like what do you want the experience to be? What do you want it to scream to them? I said, because here's the thing. Homeowners, there's a lot of distrust between homeowners towards contractors. Like that's a fact. I mean, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So it's like I can empathize. I'm uniquely qualified to empathize with you, in fact, because people fucking hate marketers and don't trust them, right? So I know what the struggle's like. I'm here with you, all right? So let's figure out the solution. Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on who you ask. What do you think?
I think it's just, it really depends on the pool. Because you have different categories of contractors, like different price points. If a roofing contractor with 10 employees versus one-man operator, the same in the marketing. Like, someone who built agency and have, multiple people working under them, they're usually good at business, delivering products. They did not got there overnight, but right. Different sizes. There's a category in the marketing that I absolutely hate, and those are usually followers of guys like Ty Lopez, who sold them this dream that, hey, find a sucker to pay you $1,000 a month and you can charge them this. Pretty much they're teaching them to prey on a business owner who does not understand marketing. And literally your product is, I know social media, pay me, I'll teach you, right? And now they're going to dentist clinics or roofers and selling them, $2,500 Facebook packages per month and not delivering results. Those I cannot stand.
Yeah, and I don't love it either. It makes my job more challenging, right? And I love that you call that shit out, but at the same time, that also makes my job challenging because it mobilizes people not to trust marketers. But I think it's a net gain for us, honestly. It's just like anything else, dude. There's tons of shitty people in every industry. And there's some good ones. There's some decent ones. There's some people that are going to really, really excel. And we try to be the people that really, really excel and improve. But yeah, dude, the Ty Lopez, here. I've never really followed any of his content. I've seen the people that have asked me, like from the marketing side about him, or people that I would keep a distance from. So that tells me pretty much what I think I need to know.
I think he's super, super smart. He definitely knows his craft. He's one of the best marketers in the country, I would argue, but I don't like his products. Like, he understands the marketing. He understands how to be sold. He understands how to, he's done it well for himself, but I don't know about his results for his clients. I don't know how, but he definitely gets it. I've listened to his keynote at 10X. It's on the Grant Cardone website. One of the best keynotes probably heard by a marketer. And he's done a lot of case studies, actually on the websites. He's done a lot of case studies on social media, like things like, for example, he was making a case for how face sells. And why babies always look at the picture with the face versus not face, like just very cool. Like, for example, he was sharing some of his posts, and he was showing how like his brain works. He was reverse engineering, and he's really good at that. Like what people love versus what people hate. If you look at the Kardashians or big accounts, and he was asking, like, what's their one thing that no one hates? And it was a grandmother. It's like no one would ever hate on grandma. So he went and he took a picture with his grandma, and it had more likes than any other celebrity he took a picture with. So it was Rihanna, like number 2, but his grandmother was even bigger than Rihanna. Like, think about it. But it's true.
It's crazy.
Like,
Right.
and when I take a picture with my dad or my mom and say, like, hey, they just got a green card, that's just like immediately like 700 likes.
Right.
And you can go with another celebrity, might get like half of that. So he understands the psychology. He understands that social media psychology. He understands what clicks. He can explain it well. And he's definitely have a talent for it. Like, I mean, the guy is smooth. You have to give them. But I don't know about the results for others.
Best keynote by a marketer until you bring me on at the Roofing Process Conference next year to do the keynote.
Keep on trying.
Keep on trying.
What
do you think about? What's that?
I'll answer to that. I listen to my audience, and I guard it from, like, for me to invite people to my stage, people have to speak up, like, about it. And if people say we don't want to hear that, you know, it's nothing personal for me.
No, it's smart. I mean, I would do the same thing. It makes perfect sense. What do you feel about charging for estimates?
I love it. But I've been doing it for years and years. That's, again, Angie's List. On Angie's List, we used to sell so many deals. Like, people just underestimate how many people will pay for estimate. And so many roofers think it's dumb because they've never done it. Just because they've never done it doesn't mean that it's dumb. If it's been done in other industries, it makes perfect sense. I'll give you an example. In 2017, I decided to run it in a paper. So we have a local newspaper here called Dollar and Cents. So paid $9,000 for ad in a magazine. Got like freaking one phone call. One phone call. I was pissed. And the guy called me back. He's like, oh, you want to do it one more month? I'm like, no. I give you $9,000 and I got one phone call and I track everything. So he was embarrassed. And he said, let's do it again. I talked to my boss and, you know, we really want to use a client. So we did it again. Next month, the only difference that I did, so first month, because I looked at it, maybe it was me, maybe it was not them. What did I do? So my offer in the first month was 5% off, typical bullshit, 5% off any project and financing available upon request, and maybe like $79 per, like whatever. And then I changed it. So I removed those offers and I did a $99 roof tune-up. A spring tune-up. It was like March. Spring tune-up. I sold 35 deals at $99. 35. I remember one of the deals like that absolutely blew my mind. The guy purchased 3 or 4. I want to say 4. And I'm like, who the heck buys 4 roof tune? How many roofs do you have? It was father who purchased it for his daughters. So he's, father, his daughters are married, but they all have houses. So he purchased it to inspect, so someone could go inspect the roofs, make sure they have good roofs. Like, he's a really good father. And Gary Vee explains it the best. Your free estimate is loaded. Like, nobody believes in your bullshit because they know that you're the product. They're going to pitch you to sell you something. And my paid estimate, it's actually a product. That's the difference. And that's what people don't get. When someone buys $99 inspection or estimate or roof tune-up or whatever, they actually buy in a product. They're already your customer instantly. And they actually believe in it. You already have their money. You already have their address. I mean, if you cannot upsell that, I mean, think about this. Carpet industry. What do they advertise? They advertise bullshit like $39 per room, carpet special, right? You know what their average ticket is? I mean, it's 2016, 2017 numbers.
It's a lot.
$350, $400, right? Because they're going to come out and they're gonna, oh, you actually want us to do this? Like, boom, there's more. Or you want us to use what? Like, they'll upsell you. So it's never 39. It's like 350. It's 10 times more. But
Right.
you're the sucker who called it because you've seen the stainless steamer $39 in the truck. So $99 should not be the price we're selling it to, but it makes them our customer. Now, if you're a likable guy, if you're trustworthy, if you know what you're talking about, I mean, think about it. But back to my deal, 35 deals, $99, ended up being $35,000 in sales in total. We've sold, I want to say, 1 or 2 roofs, couple of repairs, and a lot of them was just honored. Still not bad.
Probably like $5,000 in net profit out of that.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of customers and a lot of Google reviews. And I mean, 35 customers who like paid you. Come on, like you can't beat that. Off paper. It's not even digital, off paper.
Dude, before I started Ascend, I worked for a company that sold a phone book. And believe it or not, the phone book still works in some parts of the country.
It does. And it's coming back. And
It's
COVID brought it back.
wild. So I had a client where, I don't know, he got like 800 calls a year before from his Google ads and stuff. And cost per acquired lead of like $117. And he was ecstatic. Brand new company. And I'm like, dude, you gotta get into this book, and this is what you got to do. You got to buy the biggest spot. And, I know how crazy it sounded for me to tell him this in 2018 or whatever, 2017. Like, yeah, buy the phone book. Like, I'm definitely trying to screw you here, right? Like, dude, he called me the next year after 3 months of coercing him because we had call tracking on the ads that were behind it, right? Got like 380 calls. His cost per lead was like $17. But it was so jarring to spend X amount of thousands and thousands of dollars on a phone book ad at that time that he just couldn't get past it. He finally pulled the trigger. He's like, I can't believe it. He's like, it's legitimately the best investment that I've made in my young company, and I never thought that I would say that.
And when you grow, you have to use them all. Like, bigger companies, you have to use billboards a little bit. I mean, especially in areas like Florida, maybe California, like there's older demographics who still watch TV, still listen to the radio, and still save coupons. Coupons, by the way, is pretty big too. Mm-hmm. You can go on a Groupon and kill it too. I mean, get creative.
So if somebody's looking, let's say they're at the point where they're done doing it themselves, right? They've bootstrapped their marketing for the first year or whatever, 2 years, and they've outgrown it. They don't want to fucking do it anymore. They're Mike, and they don't want to shovel their driveway anymore. What is the best way for them to go about choosing a strategic partner from the marketing side?
I want to see results. I want to see, well, honestly,
shoot.
If you, like, everybody's scrolling, right? So when you're scrolling, if you see the ads that you like, call the company who created it. And I don't care what industry it is. Like, if someone getting your attention constantly, you're like, wow, this is genius. Like, do business with people that you already, like, I don't like to be solicited. Like, marketers, if you think about them, their product is in front of us. So if they're doing their job well in your market, if they're getting attention, if you see the post like that says sponsored, that has like, I don't know, 360 shares, likes, comments, and everybody's engaging, call the freaking company who created that ad. I mean, like, why you're waiting for a guy from India get into your DMs to ask you to buy roofing leads from you? I mean, that's right there. Someone is killing it right now. Ask yourself I'll give you an example. And this is a bad example because I don't like the company behind it. But I was on TikTok the other day and I'm scrolling and I see this window company advertising tax credits for window replacement. Beautiful video, whatever. It's like, learn more. You can get tax credits to replace your windows. See if you qualify. I'm like, that's genius, because my wife is all over me. We have little mold, which is, we're fine. We're not going to die. But she's like, no, we need new windows. I'm like, do you know how much it costs? We have a big house. Like, no. But then I see this ad. I'm like, oh, they got my attention. Tax credits for Windows, right? So I click on it. Of course, it was freaking Home Advisor / it was actually company who was doing it. It was not Home Advisor, but anyway. So I figure out who it was. Now my phone keep ringing. They called me like 3 times today. I clicked on it like 2 weeks ago. I mean, they're the most aggressive. They're like all over. So they sold my information to 4 other companies. K Designers is one of them. K Designers says, keep leaving me voicemails. Hey, it's me from K Designers calling about your windows, right? But you know what? That shit worked. And I'm the sucker. So if I need advertising, I'm calling freaking company who created it, because somehow their follow-up is on point. Their ad was on point. Their form that I put in was on point. That's how you find a marketer. Someone who actually is doing it and who got your attention.
I like that. I'm glad that more people don't subscribe to that theory. Otherwise, I'd be out of business, because I don't run any ads.
Oh, you don't?
Not really. I mean, last year we spent, in the last 16 months, I've spent about 10 grand on just like brand awareness, nothing like to sell you, just to get the Ascend name out in front of people. I think there's an important
but it could be
distinction.
to answer to that. It could be anything. It could be the ad in the magazine. It could be, you have to study your own behavior and how you make decision. It could be ads. It could be articles. It could be blogs. It could be YouTube videos. It could be whatever gets you. If you understand it, if you're engaging with someone, do it like maybe organically, maybe listening to podcasts. Go freaking start a podcast. I don't know. Just study your own behavior.
Everyone else is doing it. Yeah, it's one thing that I see a lot of contractors struggle with, though, is they're not K's design. They don't have that follow-up process. They don't have the proper... It's not even that they don't have the talent as far as salespeople. They don't own it as far as managing those salespeople. A lot of people think that, you know what, once I hire the person and I have a process in place, now I'm done. Well, a lot of people miss the process, quite honestly, and the process could use fine-tuning. But from there, you have to fucking manage people. Or guess what? They'd probably be out there doing it for themselves and not giving you, the larger cut of the profit.
You know how many times I told guys that you don't have a leads problem, you have receptionist problem. If you don't have someone answering a phone call, like every single call, every single message, if you don't have that person, like you have receptionist problem, and they're like, well, why would I hire a receptionist? I don't have leads. I'm like, first of all, you have no idea if you have or you don't have leads. Who's answering a phone call when you're with a client? Who's answering a phone call when you're doing estimate or you're driving around? Like, are you telling me you're answering a phone call every single time it rings? Probably not. You have a receptionist problem. You don't have a lead generation problem.
Yeah, it's such a good point, and it happens so much more than people would think. And then, like, here's another thing. Let's say you have a receptionist, and I've heard calls where it's like, hello. It's like, well, goddamn, I'm never buying anything from you. Have a great day. But even the ones that are perfect, that they understand how to answer the phone, they make you feel valued, and now they've got a job to do, right? And that's to get you on the schedule. When I talk to prospective clients, it's like, what's your booking like? Do you have instant booking, like a Calendly link for each one of your sales reps so she can get them scheduled right away? Or are we passing your sales rep a message and hoping that he's not in a call and hoping that they get back to him by the time that the 3 other fucking companies that they called before they schedule the appointments with him? Because guess what? If they schedule those 3 estimates and your guy calls them back at 6 p.m., guess who's not going to get a chance?
Yep.
And it's not my fault, right?
and he probably, paid a couple $100 for that appointment, for that call.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And outside of that, even if she handles that call perfectly, what happens when the other phone rings? Like, why don't you have an overflow to where after 4 rings, it's getting sent to Answer Connect, fill in the blank, right? Any one of those answering services, nights and weekends. Like, it's I deal with this stuff every day, and you have great exposure to this as well, so it seems more second nature to us. But anyone listening to this, make sure that people are able to talk to somebody live. I don't care when they're calling. It's
100%. No,
it's your best opportunity to
I
sell
mean,
the
the
business.
secret to success in construction these days is like one of those things. It's probably, I don't know, 30% of success is just answer your phone calls. Just that's it. If you answer your phone calls, you're already above the competition. Like for the most part, like in so many markets though, like people say that they are overwhelmed from competition because they have like thousands of roofers. I'm like, no, you don't have 3,000 roofers in Dallas. You have 3 estimates that they're getting. And if homeowner called 3 and you're the only one picked up the phone, you're the one who's getting a job. You just bypass 3,000 roofers in your mind. But if you don't, or you didn't get back to them within 5 minutes, you're just the biggest loser. It's insane. It is insane. Those companies who are killing it. Listen, I traveled to 15 companies last year. One of them was like Trust Roofing from Florida. Second year in business, $7.5 million. They wrap their vehicles. They moved from California. They're killing it. They're giving huge credit to brand awareness, vehicle wraps. Everybody knows them. Phone system on point. When you ask them, what's your secret? There's no freaking secret. They use Job Nimbus as a CRM. They answer phone calls. They use vehicle reps. Like this simple stuff. They're in maps. They're, everything is available for everyone is there. But they're stealing jobs from their competition. And they're the newest player on the market. So if you look at the pie, they already have pretty big slice. And it's going to grow. Why? Because they're answering phone calls. Because they don't overcomplicate it.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that. It's by the way, if anyone's watching this, that's a good point about brand awareness, truck wraps. And for a younger company, you might be like, okay, well, why would I spend $4,000 wrapping my truck? Hit up your manufacturer. They'll probably look out, give you something towards it, or at least give you something to work towards as far as like, what they would do for you to help you out. It's called co-op advertising.
Yep.
I charge for estimates.
What kind?
Like if you come and you want to, you decide you want to work with a son. Here's what I found. There's a lot of things that people should know that they don't know about marketing. And you hit me up, Dmitry, and you say, Mike, I want SEO. 90% of the times, Dmitry, you don't need SEO. You've just seen SEO hit up a million times in the groups and people talking about it, right? So you're like, I need SEO, got to have it. And you're like, I'm like, where are you at? You're like, I'm at 700,000 in revenue. It's me operating everything. What's your lead volume looking like in the last 30 days? And I get, a call every few days. It's like, you don't need SEO. Not right now. If you're going to invest money in advertising, it should be in something else, not SEO. So what I do is I take usually about 3 hours with the individual. If it goes 2, 3, 4, whatever. And we go through everything, man. We go through things like, CRM, triggers, automations, opportunities there for improvement. What is your sales intake process? The stuff we were talking about, answering the phone, answering services, instant booking with your reps. What does your sales process look like? How are you gathering reviews? How could you increase your, gathering your reviews? And for a guy like that, like automating reviews through a paid platform doesn't make sense. Here's what you do. Walk through your quality control process with your customer that you should have time to see if you're doing that volume, and get them excited about the job you did. And then when they're excited, ask them to do you a favor and leave your review. And then send them the link right then and there. Have that shit on your clipboard or your phone and have them do it. And guess what? They'll do it. Because they'll tell you yes, but then life gets in the way, right? Husband gets home, kids are there, they're running amok. Jimmy's got to go to soccer practice. And road to hell is paved with good intentions, but you never get that review, right? So we do a deep dive in everything, how to hold marketing companies accountable. Love talking about that stuff. Co-op advertising, optimizing your Google business profile, Google Guaranteed. I do all that shit. And then, you know what? If you decide that we're a good fit, if it makes sense for us to work together, I'll credit that towards whatever we're going to do. And if not, it'll be a very sound investment into your business, even if it's addition by subtraction. You don't make that bad choice to work with this agency or the next agency that's in your DM saying, hey, by the way, if you spend $200 a month, we're going to get you an extra $1 million in revenue this year. Because it's fucking bullshit.
What a lot of times, even when it it's happening, it's not because of marketing agencies. Something that business. I mean, to go from 700,000 to $1 million. It's. I remember I was talking to one marketer years ago. So this kid comes to our industry, goes to one of our conferences, and start advertising $200 per month, Instagram ads, whatever, Instagram account management. I'm like, how are they gonna make money off Instagram? Like, what are you gonna do? And his argument was, well, if they get one job from it, it's worth it. I'm like, what if they don't? Then you're gonna give them money back. So you realize you're asking them $2,400 a year, right? It's $2,400. They'll have to sell $24,000 job to justify it. Like, it's big commission. It's 10% would justify it. Are you guaranteed they're gonna get $24,000 job in 1 year? What are you gonna do? Like, oh, nobody can guarantee that. Yeah, it's like car payments used to be $200 a month. Now we're paying for freaking managing Instagram with no plan, wishy-washy, like maybe. And that freaking argument, like one job will pay for it. I'm like, no,
That's
put
the
it
pitch.
in writing. Put it in writing that I'm gonna get one job.
But to be fair, advertising's not guaranteed, right? Most of it. Google guarantee it is.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell everyone,
but you're gonna get something. You're gonna get. I mean, if you don't have a case studies, when you don't have, there's so many platforms that don't have anything. You don't have success stories. You don't have case studies. You're not guaranteeing anything. Now we're like those companies like Dex knows, impressions, or not Yelp, but it was another one with a Y, Yext. But we're gonna give you 100,000 impressions. What does it mean? What's impressions? Like,
that's a really good point, and I love that you bring that up. And also, though, context is important too, right? So, like, when you're doing SEO, a lot of the times, if you're looking in like Search Console and you're getting traction, before the clicks, impressions will come. So, like, in that situation, impressions are a lot more important than if I'm selling you an acquisition-focused advertising like Google pay-per-click. If I come to you and I try to justify what you spent with me in Google pay-per-click by how many impressions I got you, you should fucking fire me. You should call Dmitry and tell me that I'm a scam. We'll do a show on it. But in the context of SEO, in the beginning stages of SEO, when you're trying to track like what things are moving and how they're moving, it's a much more relative KPI.
I agree.
Dex knows, selling you impressions is not going to make you money. I promise you that.
Unfortunately, but how many suckers they have? I mean, those are billion-dollar companies.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I learned throughout the years, and you let me know if you agree or disagree. You've got a very large percentage of contractors who are going to say, you know what, my budget, I'm not going to look at this as a database decision. I'm going to decide this is going to be my budget for the year for marketing and advertising. And they don't put in the work to understand, okay, this is my due diligence, and I think that this would be a good investment because of A, B, C, D, E, and F, G. It's, you know what, I've got $5,000 to spend. I'm going to do the Better Business Bureau, right? I'm going to do this platform, I've got my little website that I pay somebody $80 a month for. It's fine. And then one of those guys that calls and is like, hey, for $500 a month, we'll do this, or $300 a month, we'll do this. It's like, you fit into my budget.
I would say that it's hard to be a little guy in this industry. Like, little guys get slaughtered because they are easy prey. They're true weak, and there's so many evil players who is out to get that weak. It kind of goes away once you pass, let's say, $5 million. Now you're bigger. Like, essentially, $5 million company operates like 10 smaller ones and probably spends like one of them too. So you don't need to spend 10 times more to get those results. And I mean, if you look at the companies like, your Apple roofings and stuff, they spend money on the websites, but proportionally to their income, it's so small, where little guys spend so much without even realizing, because in Russia we say, do not split, you can't split the skin of the bear you haven't killed yet. So when startup, someone starting the business, and the moment you create that LLC and throw your website out there, you're going to get every marketer in town calling you because you have LLC and you have new listing. Now everybody's soliciting to you. As a matter of fact, the moment you start doing your, Google ads, and, that's the cost and nobody's talking about it. But I remember when we were tracking them, if I'm spending, let's say $1,000 on Google per day, I'm tracking every single phone call. And my marketer would call me, my web guy would call me and say, who was that who just called you? And it's like, that was marketer. We would call them back and ask him why he's calling on ads. Because marketers should know better, not calling ads, because,
Dick move.
Yeah, you're paying $45 per click to freaking talk to a marketer.
Right.
Anyway, so those guys are getting slaughtered. And I would say you have to learn how to say no more than to say yes. And marketers are really good at belittling guys and placing doubts in our heads. Because what kind of conversation they're having with us, with the business owners? Are you ready to grow? Are you ready to take more jobs? Who's going to say no to those questions? Yeah, I'm ready for more jobs. I like to play with them. Like, nope, I'm not. I'm okay where we are. Oh, really? And they start belittling you. They start like this blaming game. Oh, really? I've never heard that before. Well, why would I pay you? I grow 30-40% without you. I cannot control. Like, I cannot do more. I cannot grow faster. I'm happy with where, like, there's I know how to piss marketer off. But most guys don't know how to say no. Because they sound dumb.
So assuming they learn how to say no more than they say yes, right? And they're, it's okay, now we're going to choose somebody. How do you decide what the right plan of attack is as far as like your marketing and advertising and branding? Assuming you're at, let's say, $1 million, like where do you go so you don't get slaughtered?
It's a waterfall. You cannot be everywhere. Like, I always go off the top. So I advertise 5% in construction business. So let's say you sell $1 million. You only have $50,000 to spend. I'm firm believer that you have to do that, just like buying a car or making important purchase in life. You cannot afford it all. You have to budget for it. So let's say you do 100,000 a month. You only have 5,000 to spend. What's the best return on investment for 5,000? On the first year in business, it could be a vehicle wrap. On the second year in business, and second months in business, first months in business, it could be vehicle wrap. If you only have $5,000, put it on a vehicle wrap. Or maybe it's a website. Second month, maybe it's a vehicle wrap. Third month, maybe it's a billboard. If you live by, I don't know, busy interstate, busy highway, you have to do your research. If you only have $5,000 to spend, you have to study what will get you the highest return on investment. Talk to other business owners. See who you're gonna try to sign up. And my favorite marketing quote is, I forget his very long name, but it's 50% of my marketing dollars are wasted. The problem is I don't know which half. Freaking love it, because that's the reality. You will, if you have $5,000, you're gonna try it. Like, go try Home Advisor. Give them a little bit. Hopefully, you're not gonna give them $5,000. Give them $1,000. See what you're gonna get back. Better Business Bureau, like whatever. Like, try it before you buy it. Try it. Give them little money. Yelps, Porch.com, Thumbtack, whatever. For me, I always tried platforms with a little money. And when I start getting return, I would pour more in it. So if you gave $1,000 to one platform, $1,000 to another, but you have 5 jobs from here and 1 job from here, dude, take this 1,000 and give this company double it, because you're getting something back. And when you have, I don't know, big companies who like your Cokes and Pepsis, they're everywhere. Why? Because their budget is big. If you have, let's say you run $100 million company and you have $5 million to spend, now you're going to be, we have a company here in town, they're doing $50 million a year. They have a contract with the 17 radio stations. Because when you have a couple $1 million to spend, you have to be everywhere, on top of everybody's mind. But when you only have $1 million a year business, you don't have more than 50K. And I see guys spending 10%, 100K, all your freaking profit. What are you thinking? So you can't say all to everything. You have to be a smart buyer. Buying advertising is just like buying a car, just like buying a phone, just like buying anything else in life. You do your research and you start small.
I like that. And then make database decisions, what's working, put more money into that. By process elimination, it should get better. I think that's really good advice. So a couple months ago, I'm sitting in Orlando. I'm at this really nice Airbnb. I'm at RoofCon. I think it was the second day of RoofCon. None of my shit came in because the guy that was renting the Airbnb was renting it, subletting it illegally. So he put the wrong address. It was actually the garage address that he put on the listing. So it all my shit went to the listing address for Airbnb because I screenshotted it and sent it to the print company because I didn't want to make a mistake, right? Human error. I'm like, I'll just screenshot the address from Airbnb, send it to the print company, and they'll mail it there. Well, it got returned undeliverable twice. And then by the time I got to it, RoofCon was over. But the second day, I'm drinking my coffee, and we were very positive about it. It's like, worst case scenario, like we're not going to have our shit. What do we got? All right, we got ourselves. We got our computer. I'll go buy a TV. We'll put a display up. I'll put my spacesuit on. I got an orange spacesuit. I'm like, let's get it. We're going to go interview people. We're going to get content. It's going to be fucking awesome. And it was good. But the second day I was there, I get an email after realizing that I'm not going to have any of this stuff. And the first time that I decided to be a vendor at a show, and I get an email that Roofing Process Conference has been moved. And I fucking like spit my coffee out. I'm like, you know what? The trade show gods just hate me is what's happening here. I'm a victim. That's like the knee jerk. I thought about it a lot, and it's like, man, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of Dmitry, and it's like a lot's got to go into fucking putting together an event. Like, what happened? I think you handled it. You did a good job handling it. Like, what was that like? That had to be challenging.
Well, I had worse situations than that, so it definitely was not the hardest, but it's probably cost me the most money in the history of Roofing Insights as a brand, if you will. But I never forget where we're coming from. Like, my first event was 150 people, and now we actually had 30 days prior to cancellation, we had over 500 tickets sold. So it was a lot of people. And then all the vendors, another like 300-400 people. So it was already 800-900 people committed to us. Sometimes in business, you have to do what's right, no matter how hard it is. And we didn't do it for us. We did it for the audience because November 30th, like at the end of November, so we have sales coming in every day, 5-10 tickets, people are buying it. And then I think November 31st, our booking with the hotel, our rate, how do you call it? Our booked rate.
The incentive for...
Yep. So pretty much we have a special reservation link. It got expired. And usually hotels extend it for you. Like you can get another week, another 2 weeks.
Sure.
So this time we reached out to them and our specialty rate goes away. And we're talking about $79 per month. And now it's $500 per month, per night. And now it's $500 per night. And on the second night, on the, December 2nd, it's actually $800 a night. I'm like, my roofers are not paying that. Like, I mean, to ask someone, I mean, my ticket is like $300, but you're charging me $500 for hotels. So for someone to come for 3 nights, they have to spend 1,500 to 2,000 just on the hotel, on top of airfare and on top of tickets. Who's gonna do that? So we start checking it with other hotels. Apparently that week they have a rodeo in Las Vegas and everyone sells out. Like most hotels already sold out. And even myself, even for my team, I could not get 10 more rooms. The problem was they had rooms because they're still selling them. They just would not honor their rate. And that's where we find out that Las Vegas, Paris, Caesars, probably not the best partner here. And the best decision ever to cancel it, because we did a private event. When we got there, even people, so we already have people, check out what they did. People who purchased tickets, they're like, you know what, we're still going to come. We're like, okay, great. So we cancel event, called Rosen, reschedule it, whole 9 yards. By the way, shout out to all the vendors. We retained 90% of the vendors. Few people got pissed, canceled tickets, couldn't come because of arrangements. The majority of the people, I would say 95% of people understood it. So we decided that we're still going to fly in. We're going to do private event, rented out restaurant, Italian restaurant, did, beautiful event. When we got there, so the day off, here's another thing what they did, Paris. They said that they sent emails to people who purchased tickets. They guarantee us that, people who bought tickets not going to lose them, like who booked their hotel.
Yeah.
And they send them email the day off saying you have to confirm your reservation or you're going to lose it. Like pure greed, because they were they're selling hotel rooms at $500 a night.
Yeah, they're getting 7-8x.
Exactly. Now they have $79. Like first of all, how many people check their email for confirming their booking? You book hotel, you book hotel. So my assistant, Gabriella, spent 8 hours at the counter just to confirm 50, 60 people who still showed up, fighting for every single reservation. And guess what? They still moved us out to another hotel. That's how shitty Paris was. And my team, pretty much, here's what really took place behind the scenes. My team was begging me, like, not to do it. They were so pissed. They're like, because we've done event at Rosen Center for 3 years. This was the first year at Paris. My team absolutely hated them. Like the worst, like the men, Gabriella is from restaurant business, hospitality. She said she've never met the meanest people. They're run by unions. If you call them, like I have one person, Amy, she was like, honestly, the meanest person I've ever dealt with. No matter what you ask her, the answer is like, nope, can't do it. Nope, don't care. Nope, that's what you get. And that's like, I mean, you do an event for 2,000 people. I'm talking about $500,000 over 2 days. And you're trying to do this, like when they sell you the venue, the stuff, everything is super over promising. But then on the back end, we will already have so many nightmares when, but what happened with the hotel rooms, they pretty much jacked the prices. They had the rooms. They would not honor it. No other hotels had the rooms for us. You could probably find someone far away, but our sales stopped. So we were selling 5-10 tickets per day. And then after November 1st, tickets just start. In 4 days, we did not sell a single ticket. So I had to make a decision. Do I make event for 500 people, which is my vendors will be pissed? Because now it's not 2,000 people.
Yeah, I'd have been pissed.
Huh? I mean,
I'd have been pissed.
So, but what do you do? It's a tough business decision.
Yeah.
Instead of 2,000 people, now you have 500 people. Or do you move it? Still, you're gonna get majority of this crowd, and you can get another 1,000, 1,500 people coming in, and it worked. I mean, some people got pissed, but overall, it worked out.
I'm glad it panned out. I didn't realize. I had to reschedule Valentine's Day, which my wife, she curses your name for. But I told her it's all good. I'm like, it's going to be fine. We'll do it the night before. Because I'm poor, bro. Fuck.
So, I mean, come on. it will only cost you cost of the ticket for her. Everything else is you stay in place, right? Like, come on.
I know. Honestly, I brought her to RoofCon, and she's like, "This sucks." I was like, "Well, you thought that what I do when I come to these events was like lay around a pool and have fun all day." Love her to death. It's funny. We went to RoofCon, and she's like, "This ain't for me." I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. It's all good." Dude, listen, I could sit here and talk to you for another 10 hours. I know you got shit to do. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the audience, and I would love to do it again sometime for sure. Is there anything, like if a contractor wants to get on Directorii, what's the process for it? How would they go about doing so?
Directorii.com, submit the application. It's, we do full background checks. We're not home advisor. We actually will check it. And honestly, we have quite a few people who, drugs, previous arrest and stuff, it'll pop up. In that case, you're probably going to get a call. We just want to make sure we trust you. We guarantee you a job with a $20K. I want to make sure you're not going to disconnect your phone tomorrow. You have to have 20 Google reviews, 4.5 stars and up. You have to be a rating. We do monitor it. So if today you have good reviews and then they start going below 4.5, you're probably going to be removed. So you have to maintain your reputation. You have to be in good standing with us. If you have a dispute with a customer, I think of myself as a reasonable person. Like, I listen to both sides. Homeowners not always right, but usually you have to listen. Before it escalates. Sure. That's what we're in business for. So if you consider yourself as a good guy, apply in line. Even if you have something on your credit history. I have guys who've done, drugs like 10 years ago. Like, I'm not, you will never hear me talk publicly about it, but I have so many stories where, like today you changed man. Like, why would I punish you what you did before? But if 3 months ago they found a whole bunch of cocaine in your car, I'm probably going to be a little bit cautious, give you another year to recover. Every
just to make sure the change is real.
Exactly. But for the most part, we'll listen to your story. If we believe you, we're going to list you, and hopefully we can make a lot of money together.
Yeah, I think that's a really good life lesson too. Don't get arrested with a bunch of blow in your car. That's good. What's one thing that you'd like to impart upon the audience prior to us to wrapping up here?
Just always do what's right. Like, I see so many people trying to find a shortcut in business. I found that, hard decisions are hard decisions, and business is going to have, a lot of them. Whether it's how to deal with the employees. Like, for example, as a mentor, people come to me all the time, how much to pay people. I don't know. I don't have answer for everything. Sometimes you have to pay someone, I don't listen to my CPA how much to pay people. I do what I feel is right. I see the person in front of me and I'm like, what's the right decision right now? Follow your heart, do what's right every given time, and you will be good long term. Like, you cannot make decisions with your wallet. You have to use common sense and your heart, and I think just keep on grinding.
It's also good advice. That's our 6th core value. Do the right thing. Again, dude, I'm really appreciative. This was some good shit, and I look forward to doing it again in the future.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.